Finland is consistently ranked among the world's happiest countries, while global interest in Finnish and Nordic happiness has grown in recent years. The Finnish Happiness Research Association is an independent research and training organization with the goal to promote individual and societal well-being and success using scientific methods and research-based knowledge. My guest today is Paula Immo, who is a happiness evangelist at the Finnish Happiness Research Association. She is also a success coach based in the northern Finnish city of Oulu. She helps companies cultivate happiness as a true competitive advantage. She also coaches award-winning entrepreneurs, experts, and business leaders in finding their unique way to succeed in business and life. Today, I will talk to her about Finnish happiness, why happiness is a competitive advantage for corporations, and what makes Finnish CEOs happy. Paula, welcome to the program and thanks for joining me.
Thank you. So wonderful to be here.
Thank you. So let's start with the Finnish Happiness Research Association first. In Finnish, it's Onnellisuustutkimusinstituutti. So can you
Yes, you got it right.
Thank you. So tell us how it started, what its activities are, and how you got involved with this association.
First of all, Finnish Happiness Research Association is an independent think tank, really, and we are promoting science-based happiness and flourishing, really. So happiness is really important for us because we believe that happy people create genuinely happy world around them. And we share the good news of happiness, both Finnish happiness and happiness in general, with the world, creating science-based webinars, courses, online events, and we do that with other happiness enthusiasts. So, for example, we help companies to and businesses to offer great opportunities to practice happiness and to learn happiness skills and track the relevant positive shifts that take place in the workplace. So we believe that happiness is it's really relevant no matter what stage you are in at life. And we're particularly keen on working with growth and success-minded businesses who are looking to build engaged, happy, productive cultures of well-being so that they can retain, attract, and optimize their top talent, as well as to cultivate happiness as a true competitive advantage, as create a true culture of well-being in the company. So that's what we are basically doing. That's what we are and what we are doing currently. And how it started purely out of my friend, who is the main founder of the association, her interest in, bringing the depression and suicide statistics in Finland to the zero. So bring them down, really. So that was her interest. And there are so many institutes concentrating on doing research on both of those things. But there are none, or there hasn't been none in Finland focusing on happiness purely. So she decided to start one. And I was actually one of the founding members. We have 3 founding members to set up the association, but I wasn't taking part in the operations in the beginning. So later on, because we share the same values in life, and we think that it's not about that the world and the people survive, but really we have an opportunity to thrive and flourish in this country and in this world. As we share that passion together, she later asked me to join the operative team as well. And now we are helping mainly organizations, but also individuals to cultivate happiness as a competitive advantage and creating the culture of well-being.
I understand. So I think because Finland is regularly ranked, and also the other Nordic countries, among the world's happiest nations. So if people want to be happy, they should ask Finns and other Nordic people why these countries have been regularly ranked among the happiest countries and what are their secrets to happiness. So you guys from Finland and other Nordic countries have lots of information, research-based knowledge to share with the world, and I think it's a wonderful initiative that you started this association and now you are doing this work. So anyway,
Yeah.
this association presented the findings. You did a study on the happiness of Finnish chief
Mhm.
executive officers, and
Yeah.
the findings of the research were presented at the seventh World Congress of the International Positive Psychology Association last year. So tell us
Mhm.
the details, like how the study was done, how many people participated in it, and what the main findings of the study were.
Yeah, it was a wonderful research because most of the research have been concentrating on well-being of employees. So there is not much research on the well-being of leaders, and it was very interesting to see how they uh, see both stress and happiness in their life and in their work and affecting their business. So the aim of this study was to describe uh, to find out how they describe happiness and how they see happiness and stress affecting their businesses. And the sample consisted, I'm just making sure that I'm saying the right numbers. The sample consisted of 105 Finnish CEOs, so just above 50, a little bit above 50% of them were female, and just under 50 were male, and over half of them had been CEOs over their past 6 years. And
Mm,
how we conducted the research was that we provided them with a internet-based questionnaire, and we invited them personally. So each received a personal invitation to be part of the study. And then we asked how they experienced happiness and stress, and especially during the last 6 months in their life. So this study took place in spring 2020, so already when the pandemic was going on. And then we asked them to evaluate the levels of stress and happiness in their lives using a 5-point scale. So, and we always also, yes, we asked them to give an opportunity to explore the relationship between happiness and stress with open-ended questions.
mm,
So, how they relate to happiness, that was the main interest. And of course, the findings were in sync with earlier research, is that there was a negative correlation between happiness and stress. As we've known that before, we realized that they don't really exist at the same time, that they are mutually exclusive. So when you are stressed, you can't be really happy. So that's the idea that we've had before. But actually, 21.9% of the CEOs answered in our study that they feel high levels of both stress and happiness at the same time. So this created a sort of a paradox and presented a sort of a paradox. And this was a new finding, that they can do so even though they are stressed, they still feel happy. And this is obviously something that we need to look in further and do more research on it so that we can understand it better. But the words I can hear, I just took some words out here that they were describing through the open-ended questions regarding happiness, that how they see happiness is, of course, when we are doing the questionnaire and it's related to work, they mentioned achievements. But then family, other people, relationships, sense of well-being, and sense of meaning. And you know what? When we were asking them that, how many or do they actually consider happiness as a important part of the business's success, 96% of them evaluated that it's of high importance for the overall success of their business.
I understand. Interesting finding. I think in many countries around the world, outside the Nordic countries, the idea of happiness, it's not prioritized in personal life and
Mhm.
also in the corporate life. But I think in Finland and in the other Nordic countries, so these countries take happiness and well-being of the citizens so seriously. So they want to make sure that the citizens live a good life and a stress-free life, and they have high levels of well-being, because if you are not happy, if you do not have higher levels of well-being, it will actually affect your life at every in every aspect, like your personal life, your professional life, and whatever you
Mhm.
do in your life, it will actually affect a lot. And when I lived in Finland, I felt so happy because of all the facilities that the Finnish government is providing for the citizens. And when I
Mhm.
came back to
Mhm.
Bangladesh, I was able to make a comparison. And then I realized from that first-hand experience how important it is to make situations or to make conditions in your life, either from the government side or from your personal side, to be happy. I mean, if you cannot
Mhm.
be happy, if you cannot say goodbye to stress, it will
Mhm.
actually affect your life. As I said, the every aspect of your
Mhm.
life will be affected, and your performance, your relationships, everything, your mind, your
Mhm.
body, everything will be affected. So, anyways, as you shared the study and the findings, now my question to you is, what steps can organizations take to create a happy workplace for employees?
Well, I would say that um, first we well first of all, we need to understand now after the pandemic and the war going on and the climate changes, all the things that are going on around the world. So I don't think this is only particular to Finland. I think this is true for worldwide. Uh, we need to first make sure that the employees are actually able to perform their work, because taking into consideration the past few years, we are facing new kind of stress, new kind of worries, new kind of exhaustion and burnout feelings in our lives, and it, of course, it affects all of us. So first of all, we need to take measures to make sure that our employees are able to perform their work. And then other thing is that over the past few decades, we've been concentrating on productivity. So every company has used probably a whopping amount of money to hone their processes, to make those processes lean and efficient, and so that they are enhancing productivity. But now we need to shift the focus from productivity to human optimization, really, because the humans, we are then running those processes. And with everything that has been going on in the world lately, we really need to optimize the human performance in a way that we support the well-being in new ways. I don't believe it's enough anymore for us to offer, for example, in Finland, to offer more yoga classes or Pilates classes or gym memberships and massages and swimming possibilities and all those things where we can individually voluntarily choose whether we engage to it or not, but to actually help our employees to learn new happiness skills so that they are able to, locate and cultivate the inner feeling of okayness. And then from that place, feel both serene and excited about life at the same time, regardless of the outside forces. And that's because research has shown us that happy people are more creative, they are more productive as well, they have better health, they are more helpful, they have access to uh, broader and novel ideas and solutions for problems in the challenging times, and they have more capacity to handle the adversities of life. So I think that's the direction we ought to be heading. And we, for example, with the Finnish Happiness Research Association, we are now cooperating with a company called Experience Happiness from States. And we get to be involved in this wonderful project where we teach a Minnesotan health clinic staff happiness skills. We teach them happiness skills. And this is part of their bigger well-being solutions in order to support the well-being of the congestive heart failure patients. And in order for them to improve the well-being of their patients, not only the staff, but also the leadership group is going and taking part in practicing these 5 principles of happiness in a 6-month journey. And they are doing this because this provides them measurable outcomes in focusing on decreasing the signs and symptoms of burnout, as well as at the same time increasing the signs and symptoms of happiness. And we all know that happiness have byproducts, and the byproducts that we are measuring in that project are innovation, resilience, and sustainability.
I understand. Thank you. Now let's talk about Finnish happiness in general. So Finland and the other Nordic countries, as you know, they're consistently ranked among the world's happiest nations, especially in the World Happiness Report. So what are the main reasons of Finnish happiness? You are a Finn, so you know very well.
Yeah, of course I know. Well, I think a marvelous question, by the way. I think there are 2 aspects to this. So I'd like to explore the answer from 2 aspects. First, there is this individual aspect. And we, as the Happiness Research Association, we actually asked people in Finland that what makes them happy. So my answer will be based on those answers. And we also asked them, why do they think that we are the happiest country in the world? And we got over 700 answers. And the answers included the reasons for happiness were friends, family, health, nature. There were things like food, work, home, exercise activities, sauna, and so on. Many, many things. Those were the most often mentioned words from the study that we did. And I kind of agree with them. And then when we asked that why are we the happiest country, we got answers. I'll just read them. Is it okay if I read a couple of them out loud?
Definitely.
Yes. So what makes us the happiest included comments such as, we know how to enjoy the small joys of life, modesty and ability to trust each other and the society at large, clean nature that is available to all to enjoy as they wish, the way nature is close to everyday life, us trusting each other, honesty, and common sense. In Finland, people can live as they want. They have busy cities as well as peaceful countrysides. 4 seasons, something we can enjoy at all times. We have a special connection to nature and clean environment, beautiful nature, and only a few people around. So those were among the answers we got from the Finnish people. And from them, I think we can say that it has a lot to do with the attitude we have towards life and what we expect of our lives to be. And we place a high value on honesty, on including and helping others, especially those that are in vulnerable positions, on having common sense and being rather modest.
I understand. And if you asked me why I think Finland is the happiest country, I would also give you the same answers because I have experienced those, as I told you. I have experienced those firsthand when I was living in Finland, especially the social trust. I mean, it felt kind of like a magic to me. The social and institutional trust is so high. Finns trust each other a lot, and also they trust their governments and the institutions and the government institutions. And the corruption level is really low. because
Mhm.
it runs by the governments are really efficient and the institutions are really efficient. They are really doing the job that they are supposed to do, and they are
Yeah.
serving the citizens. So they are delivering the services. That's why people put their trust in the government, in the administration, and also other government institutions. And also another thing, if you think about why Finns are interested in paying high taxes, that also tells you why they are so happy, because when they are paying high taxes, they're actually getting a lot of services in return,
Mhm.
like
Mhm.
the pension, unemployment benefits, childcare benefits, housing benefits. So Finland
Mhm.
has a lot of offers a lot of benefits and services to its citizens. So if you're in trouble in
Yeah.
life, you can actually get help from the state, which is not
Mhm.
the case in many other countries around the
Mhm.
world, because the level of social services is really,
Mhm.
really high in the Nordic countries. So yeah,
Mhm.
these are the people sometimes think like Finland or the other Nordic countries have some secret recipes for happiness,
Yeah.
but it's actually very
Yeah.
simple things.
Yeah, they're simple things, and there is truth in that. The societal, the other side to this is the societal side, the broader picture, where um, I think it comes from, already after or since the Second World War, well-being has been at the very core of Finland's mission as a country, and we have uh, built the structures and system to support our citizens' well-being very widely. And now we are enjoying this results of those efforts, because our country secures, like you said, broad financial, educational, and social rights equally for all of us. And there I say that the equality comes into play as well. That, for example, our children get to enjoy free school, and it's free and available to every child, regardless of the social status of their parents. And every child is able to, study the field that they are interested in studying. So
Mm,
yes.
Education actually is a big equalizer. If you look at the life of your Prime Minister Sanna Marin, she came from a very humble background, but now you see
Mhm.
where she has risen. And in many interviews after she was elected the Prime Minister, she said, "I would not have been here today if it was not for the welfare benefits that the
Mhm.
Finnish government provides." So the welfare
Mhm.
services and the social services, they play a major role in making citizens happy. So,
Yeah.
Finns have a reputation for not expressing their emotions in public, and they also look quite melancholic in public places. So, why are Finns like that? What do you think?
Well, frankly, I'm not sure I'm qualified to answer that, but I don't really know why we are the way. But some say, of course, that it's because of our Slavic heritage, or the Lutheran heritage, where, as Lutherans, we've been encouraged to really hide our emotions in the public, and it's a lot of value is placed on one being able to manage one's emotions. And of course, I think the cultural heritage, we've been on the Sweden, we've been on the Russia, they play a big part. But also the work ethics, we're a small country. It wasn't hard. It wasn't hard. It was hard. It wasn't easy for us to gain independence and then to maintain and keep it in the early years. So in those years, there weren't really time for enjoying life and indulging and, enjoy any luxuries. It was hard work. It required hard work, and there was really no time for play. So a lot of sayings, for example, in our tradition, say that, you know see who is happy should hide it. uh, who aims too high will obviously fail. And all these kind of different sayings that go on, that really try to encourage us to stay rather modest and humble, than pursuing high levels of individual happiness.
Mm.
And when we hear those things long enough and often enough, we start to believe them as the truth and, as the guiding principles of life. So that's one to it. And then at the same time, I think that, the happiness emotions for us Finns, they are those low intensity emotions. And we are more similar to the Eastern cultures in that rather than to the Western cultures. So it's not really woo. That's not who we are in our basic nature. So the happiness emotions are rather low intensity emotions.
Yeah,
us.
you keep it inside. Like Eino Leino, the famous Finnish poet, I remember one saying from him, Kelonni on, se onnen kätkekon. So
that's what I meant. Yeah.
if
exactly.
a person has happiness, he or she should hide it. He or she should express it. So this is like really wonderful when especially foreigners, especially from talkative cultures, like in Bangladesh we are very talkative. So when people from these countries or like the Southern European countries, like the Spanish people, they're very loud, very talkative. So when these people go to Finland and observe Finns, so they will say Finns are like very introvert, they don't talk much, they are always keeping things to themselves. But why Finns are like this, the history says it, because the history and the tradition the Finns grew up with, it actually explains why they are like this. So we talked about the Finns have a reputation for not expressing their emotions in public. So what do you think? Does this affect their happiness? I mean, because you are not expressing it, does it mean you are less happy?
Not necessarily. But of course, if we become accustomed to not expressing our feelings, we sort of try to numb them, and that never helps happiness. So that at least doesn't increase our happiness. So yeah, but we are now as a country developing the new culture of being able to express feelings and realizing that feelings are a natural part of lives and we can't really leave them behind. I mean, in the workplaces, for example, I've been even told in my previous career that, Paula, you should leave your feelings outside and emotions outside. They don't belong into the workplace. And I think that's a very hard thing for anybody to do because, everything's connected in life. So, and everything affects.
I understand. So Finns have a very close relationship with nature, as you already talked about. So what is the role of nature and forest in Finnish happiness? What do you think?
I think it's true. We have a special relationship with nature because 75% of our country is covered with forests. So we have easy access to nature. It's almost everywhere readily available. Of course, the biggest cities, they have these concrete blocks there, so it might take a while, but there are we have basically easy access to the nature, and the habit of going outside is instilled into us even when we were kids or since our childhood, because for example in the schools, after every 45-minute lesson we have a 15-minute recess, or nowadays some schools have 90-minute lessons and then have 30-minute recess, and during which the kids go outside to play. And then of course much of the gymnastic classes that are part of the school to I think 2 hours until 4th grade and 3 hours 5th grade onwards per week, much of those take place outside as well. So it is in our nature to be a lot outside, and then the nature is there readily available. Plus, we enjoy what we call every man's rights. So basically, yes. Jokamiehen oikeus. That grants us the permission to use the nature regardless of who owns it. And so it means that we can go freely walking, hiking, biking, horseback riding, and doing those things freely in the forests and meadows, as long as we don't destroy them. Or we can go hiking, I mean swimming, boating, fishing as well. We can pick berries, mushrooms, unprotected plants. So those are given to us. And then research shows that there are a lot of health benefits involved already when you are just being in nature, not necessarily doing anything, but being in nature. Like physically, they say that it lowers both the heartbeat and the blood pressure. It boosts our immunity, and it lowers the risks to risk of heart and memory based illnesses. And then if we think psychologically, it enhances our mood, of course. When you are spending time in the nature, it enhances the mood, it lowers the stress levels, and helps us feel refreshed and relaxed.
I understand. I still remember I was living in Helsinki, and in Helsinki they have this keskuspuisto, like Central Park or something like that.
Yeah.
So it was like, I think, 5 or 7 minute walk from my place. So I was living in Pohjois-Haga. So I whenever I was feeling like, okay, I have nothing to do at home, or I was not feeling good, so I went to this park, and I walked and walked, and it was so beautiful, and it actually improved my mood a lot. In my country, I do not have access to that nature, but in Finland, as you said, 75% of the country is covered by forests. So I think it's a special gift to the Finnish people. They live in kind of like, it's a big forest. The whole Finland is a big forest, and you guys live in that forest. So you always have, no matter where you live in the country, you always have access to nature. The proximity to nature, it's almost like it's a given in If you're living in Finland, it's a given to you. You don't have to like travel a long distance to go to nature and enjoy. So I think that's one of the,
or make any particular different arrangements to enjoy the nature.
Exactly.
And it helps that there are only, as we say, few people around here, so it's clean air, mostly clean environment as well.
I remember, like, we have a lot of people in our country, and when I went to Finland, I was like walking a long distance, and I didn't see anyone. I was like, oh my God, where are all the Finns? Are they at home? And then I understood that because I was comparing Finland with Bangladesh. That's why I was surprised, like, because we have too many people. But Finland, I think it's almost like 2.5 times bigger than Bangladesh. But you have a lot less people, significantly less people compared to Bangladesh. So it's not like there are no Finns outside. It's like the population of Finland is so low compared to countries like Bangladesh or India or China, let's say. So if these people go to Finland, they will say that we have seen everything except for people.
Where's the people?
Where's the people? We don't see many. We don't see many of them. So now I want to talk about gender equality. So Finland takes gender equality very seriously, and it has many policies in place that give women the same rights as men in society. So how does gender equality impact the happiness of Finnish women? What do you think?
Well, I think the Finnish women nowadays, we take it pretty much as granted that we are equal. So it's part of our everyday life, and we probably don't appreciate it as much as we could. It's something we don't really realize, because if we think back over 100 years ago, Finland was the first country in Europe and the third in the world to grant unrestricted rights to vote and stand for parliament for women in 1906. And then that was already, we were, at the forefront with those rights. But then also during the Second World War, when most of the men were in the war, women needed to step up. We couldn't, the country needed to keep running. So women stepped up and took over running the country in ways that women were working in factories, they were working in hospitals, they were farming, taking care of those things that, before then were perhaps thought that are men's jobs. So now women were stepping up and taking over so that everything can go as smoothly as possible. And they did a good job. So when the war ended, there was no need to change anything. And much of the women stayed working outside home since then. And I think that what came to us as a necessity, what happened to women in that time and age, it happened as a necessity. And then because of that necessity, we now enjoy really equal position in the society, and nobody really questions it. And even the gender pay gap is really low in Finland. It's on average 16%. There still is one, so we still have work to do there as well. But it's I'd say it's on average. I think it was 16% on all labor market, across all labor market.
I understand. And when I went to the Mahmudul's office, like Finnish immigration office in Helsinki, to apply for my
I love how you pronounce the Finnish words.
Okay, thanks.
You do a really good job.
Thanks. So when I went there to apply for the extension of my residence permit, so there I saw a paper. So it was attached to the glass of the office, and it said, I still remember it. And that's when I actually fell in love with, I told you that I have fallen in love with Finland. So there are so many aspects of Finland that I have fallen in love with. And this was one of them. I particularly remember. So it said, naiset hoitavat asiansa itse Suomessa. So in Finland, women take care of their own matters. And you know what? I took a picture of that. I asked the immigration officer, can I take a picture? She said, of course you can. And I took a picture, and then I started thinking about this, like, why do you say it? It sounds so simple, but if you are living in Finland, and if you compare the rights that Finnish women enjoy with other women living in other countries, then you realize how powerful is this statement that in Finland, women take care of their own matters. Why? Because they have been given the rights and they have been given the facilities so that they can enjoy their rights and they can do those things. I have written an article comparing the level of empowerment of women in Finland and the Nordic countries, and also in Bangladesh. In Bangladesh, many women have to sacrifice their careers after giving birth to a child, after marriage, because there are no universal daycare centers in Bangladesh, and we have a policy for maternal leave, but it's not implemented universally. So if you're a woman in Bangladesh, it is highly likely that you will have to sacrifice your career after you get married and become a mom. But look at Finland. I think no woman in Finland has to sacrifice her career just after getting married and giving birth to children, because you are given the maternity leave, and it's also for all Finnish women. It doesn't matter if that woman is working in a restaurant or in a big company. It's the right that comes from the government, from the state. So after enjoying your maternity leave, you can go back to the labor market, go back to your job, and then resume doing it. And compare this facility with other countries. I was interviewing a Finnish woman. She's a Finnish blogger and author. She's now living in Australia. Even in a country like Australia, she said there are many stories of Australian women they had to sacrifice their career after the childbirth. But in Finland, I think, as you said, that the Finnish women almost take it for granted, because if they were living outside Finland, then they would realize how difficult it is to be a woman in those countries, because those countries and their governments do not offer you these services. But in Finland, you get it after you are born. You don't have to worry about it, like, because also you have the free education, free healthcare. It's for all men and women. So if you think about it, so it's kind of, you're lucky.
It's special.
It's a special, yeah, it's a special. Now I have the last question for you, because we have been talking about this speciality. So one of my very close friends in Oulu, she taught this expression. She taught me this expression. So she said, "On lotto voitto suntua Suomeen." So it's like
Ooh, yeah.
living,
it's like winning a lottery to
yeah,
be born
to be
in
born
Finland.
in Finland. So this is my last question to you. What do you think about this statement?
Yeah, when listening to you the past couple of minutes, it really feels like it's a blessing to be here. But then at the same time, realizing, in my life, that happiness is never dependent on the outside conditions. I mean, you look at Finland, for example. We have the societal structures and systems to support the well-being of people, but then we still have, issues and matters that we need to address, and those come down to the individual level, and realizing that our happiness is not dependent on the outside forces. It's an innate ability to locate the serenity and excitement about life. So in one way, I do appreciate, and it's a privilege that I probably don't understand to appreciate as much as I could, to be born in Finland. And I do think it's a really good thing. And then at the same time, I think just being born is like a winning in the lottery. We have, no matter where you are, there are beautiful things around the world. We have our issues as well in Finland, for sure. It's not a country without problems. No country is. But if we find it in ourselves, like those CEOs, feeling stressed and happy at the same time, that we can notice that even when things are not probably going the way we would want them to go, that still at the same time there are many things that are already working well, and appreciating those as well, and not just consume ourselves with the ones that aren't yet working.
Yeah, exactly. I understand. So thank you, Paula. Thank you for giving me time, and thanks for this interview. I really wanted to interview you and talk about the happiness of Finnish CEOs. And also, I'm always interested in Finland and Finnish things and Finnish culture, Finnish people. So it's always a pleasure to me when I get the chance to talk to a Finn. So I really appreciate that you have given me time. And the last thing I can tell you in Finnish, what can I say? Something really good. Sudamoni mene Suomeni joka päivä. So is it like my heart goes to Finland every day. So I'm really I'm really looking forward to coming back. And then if I come back, then I will contact
Let's set up a meeting.
Yeah, exactly. Then we can actually meet in person and talk more about Finnish happiness, Finnish culture, and all the
definitely. Let us know when you come, and let's set up a meeting with the whole Finnish Research Association.
Exactly. Okay, Paula, thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. I so appreciate sharing this with you, and thank you for your keen interest on both Finnish happiness and happiness in general.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank